All right, let's move on here. One of my guys, right? Evan Engram joins my Denver Broncos. This is a guy who has jumped up a lot. He was originally at the 12-11 to begin the month. After landing in Denver, he has now moved up a full 2 rounds to the 10-12. 30 years old, right? So we're talking about an aging asset here, going to a new spot with Sean Payton, who's clearly, I want to add this before we move to Matt first. Clearly this was a Sean Payton telling this guy he is going to be his Joker. He sold him on his role in this offense because it was between the Denver Broncos and the Chargers, and it was pretty much that the contracts weren't much different, right? I mean, he was practically getting the same offer between two teams, and he chose Denver. I think a big reason as to why that would be is because of the role in that offense, where I think the Chargers want to be more ground and pound, right? And that's not as appealing as to Peyton, who can find creative ways to get him the football. Matt, what are your thoughts on Evan Engram right now going at this 10th round cost?
Oh, I love it. I love it. If I could go get Evan Engram on my team, I would be trying to do it right now. I mean, you already mentioned the landing spot and being the Joker for Sean Payton. That's really valuable for me. I mean, we've seen tons of people be in that role over Payton's career and have a ton of fantasy upside and talent. And I think Evan Engram is just that. He's already proven he's a fantastic pass catcher. We've just seen it over his years in Jacksonville. Obviously, he had the great rookie season with the Giants, and then it kind of fell off. But the quarterback play in New York was terrible. And he even dealt with some of that issues in Jacksonville. But Bo Nix looks really promising. And what we know about Bo Nix is he's an on-time quarterback. He always is on schedule. He's great with his reads. He delivers the ball accurately and in the right spot. And I think that's where Evan Engram just fits as his best friend. The age, yeah, he just turned 30, but that doesn't really scare me at tight end. No. These guys play longer. If you go pull up a lot of lists of, good tight ends playing into their 30s, there's a ton of them. He's not alone right now being a 30-year-old tight end. Kelsey's, he's almost 36, right? So he's got plenty of time. If you can get 2-3 years out of him in a tight end premium year, a tight end premium league, I'm absolutely all for that.
Anthony, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a great spot for Evan Engram. You brought up the tight end longevity and his age. Evan Engram used to be an injury-prone player. If you go back early in his career, missed some time. Between 2020 and 2023, he missed one game. Last year, gets banged up, misses a bunch of time. I'm not really worried about the injuries as much because he has a 4-year span of proven durability. He goes to an offense that has a big-time need for a secondary, consistent pass catcher. The tight end room was I don't even know if mid's the right word last season. And what they have now, Troutman, Kroll, Adkins, and Thomas Yasmin behind him. This is Evan Ingram's role. I do think he can do, we know he can do a lot of different things, line up all over the formation. He's not just a typical inline tight end. And in this Sean Payton offense, I think he's going to get creative. So I'm all in on Evan Engram. And if you go back to 2023. Remember, Christian Kirk gets hurt. Jacksonville's offense was still competent. He had 143 targets. So we know he can handle a large target volume and also deliver. He was a tight end 4 in points per game at tight end. So, yeah, this is a great landing spot. And I think the 10th round is outstanding for Evan Engram.
Yeah. When you look at the targets, right, I mean, 2022, 98, 2023, 143. Let's round up 98 to 100 because why not? It's 2 targets off, right? In 4 years of his career, he's had over 100 targets, right? That's 50% of his, slightly under 50%. We're talking 40%, I think, or 45% of his career. He's had 100 targets, right? Like that's pretty impressive. And then obviously you look at it, he's not a guy that has scored a ton of touchdowns. If he can get with a creative play caller who can scheme end zone, I mean, that's even better. I mean, we're talking about a guy whose his career high was his rookie season where he scored 6 touchdowns. Outside of that, he's only scored a career high of 4, and that was the last 2 seasons in 2023 and 2022, if not counting last year because of the injuries and all that. But, he was tight end 4, tight end 7 with just 4 touchdowns, right? He has yards after catch ability, and he catches a ton of passes. And quite honestly, I think his cost is, it's too hard to pass up. When you look at the players going around him, you have Travis Kelce, who's valued higher than Evan Engram. What are you getting out of Travis Kelce? 1 year, possibly? And I don't think I think if Evan Ingram and Kelsey stay healthy this year, I think I'm comfortable saying Ingram's probably going to outscore him this year, right? Unless unless Kelsey leaves it all out on the line this year and says, it's my last year, no load management, I'm just going all out. But outside of that, you have players like, okay, Isaiah Likely. I mean, Mark Andrews is still there. I don't think Likely, the way they move him around as a move tight end, is going to ever be a full-time guy on the field. You have Jonnu Smith, had a really good year. I just think for the age, like you guys said, at 30 years old, he probably has maybe 2 to 3 years left where he can give you, the ceiling of a 100 target year. I think he still has that in him, and he's going to arguably I'm not going to say it's the best offensive situation he's been in, but you can argue, I mean, he's coming from 2 train wrecks going to a stable offense with a coach that's just probably did one of the best. I probably had one of the best coaching seasons he's ever had with what he was working with. And that offense is arguably better than where he was with Jacksonville and New York. So I'm all in at the cost. I think it's great value. And I don't know, Matt, it looked like you were going to chime in and say something. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, if we're playing Dynasty and we're playing in our windows, follow the money. He signed a 2-year deal in Denver. There you go. He's at least involved in the plan for 2 years. Now, certainly these teams can move on, but I think it says a lot that they signed him knowing everyone was thinking, okay, they might go get Loveland. They might go get Warren. Now I think it's more in play for them to, have Evan Ingram and then draft a guy like Harold Fannin in the 3rd or 4th round and use him as a H-back and kind of let him develop that joker role.
Yeah. I mean, since 2020 up to last year because he missed a bunch of games, he was top 5 receiver in slot snaps, and then he had back-to-back years in 2022 and 23 in Jacksonville, where he was a number 1 tight end in slot snap. So I do think Sean Payton, I could see him using him in a similar fashion in Denver.
Yeah, and Greg makes a good point too. Like I'm all for trading for cheap older tight ends, especially if you could throw 3rd round picks at them in the rookie draft. I think you can get a lot of guys for those kinds of offers, high 3rd round pick in the rookie draft. Like if you're in a competing window, right? I think that's obviously the key. You have to understand your roster and your team. I'm not picking Evan Ingram if you're hypothetically in a startup, which we all just completed one together, and you're like, yeah, this is not a team that's competing right now. Sure, I can understand not taking Evan Ingram if you have younger core players on the board that you can take a chance on. I get that. But outside of that, I mean, if you're competing, I think he's a great pickup and a guy that you can wait pretty late on in your rookie drafts and startups, not rookie drafts, in your startups. All right, so let's take a